We are recording. Right, first of all, hello and welcome to our live webinar where we'll be discussing the advantages and the differences of single-sex education, mainly in the UK, because this is our focus, and well, in comparison to perhaps co-ed education and diamond system education. So my name is Fulya. I am the director and founder of Turkish Education Center, and I have been an international education consultant for over 23 years now. I've been working both in Turkey and Istanbul, predominantly focusing on under 18 placements in the UK from Turkey. We provide a number of services, not just school placements. We do academic counseling, we do education guardianship, and we also provide online tuition for exams, for school entrance tests, university applications, so on and so forth. So please do feel free to come forward and contact me after if you have any further questions. We won't be keeping you long. This will be about half an hour at most. And when you do have questions about the various topics that we discuss, I'd like you to either put in the chat box or put your hand up and I'll make sure that you get to ask your questions. I am joined by Mr.Vlad Butin from St. Francis College, which is a part of the Inspired Learning Group. It's a group of schools in the UK that are boarding and independent, and they provide mainstream UK education. And Mr. Vlad Butin is the International Director of Admissions for all the schools in the group. Thank you for joining me, Vlad. Nice to see you again.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to our conversation this evening, and I hope it will be interesting to all of you. I will give you a little bit of introduction about myself. By profession, I'm teacher of Spanish. I graduated as teacher of Spanish, so I know a lot about education and about how education works for different children and for people with different backgrounds, because I started my career in Russia. I'm originally from Russia, and I moved to the UK system almost 20 years ago now. I worked in state schools, I worked in private schools, I know the difference, and I represent many schools in London that are prep schools, and I represent all through boarding schools that are co-ed, and we have one school that is girls only, St. Francis College, and today our conversation will be mostly about the differences and the benefits for some of single-sex education in the UK.
Great. Before we start, I want to mention that I've been to a girls' school myself. I've been to a single-sex school for both prep and secondary. I've done my GCSEs and my BTECs in an inner London state girls' school, and I have seen many sides of it. I have seen the goods, the bads, the advantages, the differences, but not for one day have I regretted going to a girls' school. It was a decision by my dad, but I really am happy that that's what he's done. And I know that nowadays there's more of a choice, both under the state system and in the private and independent sector. So let's get to hear it from you.
Yes, I think it's a very interesting topic to discuss because in Britain, historically, most of the schools were single-sex until the 20th century. All historic schools, all schools with long tradition, they are single-sex. And for boys' schools, the main reason why families decide to send their boys to a single-sex boys' school is mainly tradition and results. Everybody knows that the best school in the country, Eton College, it's for boys and it's single sex, and all the politicians, all the celebrity children, they all go there. And this is mostly just tradition. We follow the roots, and that's why so many people are attracted by this. But for girls, the situation is slightly different because there are three scientifically proved reasons why these are beneficial to girls. And they're quite simple and quite easy to understand. And we all sort of almost inadvertently know them, even without reading about them. But I think when they're put in front of you as a scientific document that changes your perception of it. So the three main benefits, I will just name them now, and then we can discuss all of them a bit further. So first, the girls learn quicker than boys. In a single-sex environment, the teacher, especially if it's a smaller class size, they don't have to wait for the boys to catch up. They can progress along the program, along the curriculum, along all the subjects much quicker, at a much quicker pace. And they get better results because of this, because learning happens much quicker.
So Vlad, does this mean that because they learn quicker, they have more time to go more in depth? Can you say that?
Yes,
they can go in more detail?
They go into more detail, they learn additional subjects, and on top of it, they can do everything much faster and spend more time doing additional activities, extracurricular things, not to be so under pressure when they have to spend more time waiting for somebody to catch up in the class. And the teachers probably teach them differently as well, because everything they learn, all the subjects they learn, they can do it at a much quicker pace. So this is point number one.
Also they can probably repeat, because they'll have the time, because they do everything much quicker. Within the curriculum, they can probably repeat the contents and revise better.
Absolutely. And also the results in all the girls' schools, they're much better. So the end result is the university destinations, the future careers for the children. And it is true that for girls-only schools, the results are so much higher. Then the second big segment of the benefit is the future career choice. It is proven that in a co-ed environment, even very talented girls will be always looking back at boys and thinking that, oh, this is the traditional boys subject. Maybe I have another classmate who will be better than me. I don't want to compete with him because I will not do this sports, for example, this type of sport, I don't know, football, that is traditionally boys sport. I will not be able to beat them in football because I don't feel like I could. Or traditionally sciences were always attributed to boys and girls could not sometimes compete with them, or the attitude was that, oh, boys can do it better, so let's concentrate on them. And I think that, again, it is proven that for girls-only schools, the wider choice of subjects is definitely there. We have at St. Francis, for example, we have significantly higher results for sciences and for sports comparing to all our neighboring co-ed schools. We have one of our alumni who was local from our local area. She's from the town that is called Hitchin, which is about 2 miles away from St. Francis College. Her name is Dr. Fox, and she studied sciences. She then went to Cambridge, and now she's head of lunar and Mars program at the NASA. So she's a very big scientist, and she talks to our students a lot. She does it by a Zoom call, for example, or on Teams, or she visits the school quite often. And she always tells about the support she got from all the teachers, and the fact that she could concentrate on her studies helped her a lot.
So in a nutshell, Vlad, it can be said that girls find that in a single, boys the same perhaps, that in a single-sex environment, they are not looked upon as the less ability to do less than the other, because that is traditionally attributed to the opposite sex.
They do well in different subjects. It's the same for, let's say, design and technology or arts for boys in boys' schools, because again, traditionally that would be considered a girly subject.
Yeah.
And most boys would be just thinking, oh, I don't want to do it, even if I'm good at designing clothes, let's say, but I don't want to do it because, you know, girls do it normally. And in a single-sex school, they have all the options in front of them, and they don't have to think about those traditional stereotypes.
Yeah, it's interesting because stereotypes are always there, even though when you look at the famous names, let's say in fashion, most of the major fashion designers are men. And the same in international cuisines, gourmet chefs. Many international chefs, successful and famous chefs, are men again. Whereas, the society tends to think that cooking is a girly thing or fashion is a girly thing. But where they strive, they do acquire the necessary, I think, results. So, and those names are a big contribution to their name.
Yes, and I think it is so important for children to know that because obviously a choice of school, as we know, it's a very, very difficult decision for the families, for the parents. It's probably the most important decision that they would take about their child during their lifetime, because especially if they're considering foreign education, it's a huge investment as well. And this is an investment, and it is not the same as buying a good car or buying a good flat or something like this. This is an investment of your child's future. And I think depending on how you choose the school, so much will depend on this, and that future of your child will depend on your decisions. And sometimes parents are led by league tables or by famous names that go to different schools, and they think that if, I don't know, David Beckham's children went to this place, then my children would feel great there because it's just a famous school. But we know that it doesn't work that way. There are so many schools and there are so many parents, and I think it is so important that the parents listen to an expert advice, especially if they don't have their own experience of placing children overseas, that they talk to somebody who knows.
Yeah.
And this is extremely important, because when you have this experience every day when you talk to the parents who talk to you, you have to understand and feel the child, their needs, their expectations, but also match it with the expectations of the family. So very, very briefly, it doesn't mean anything to that conversation, but obviously it will describe a little bit about how it works for a small school when you have an opportunity to know everything about the background of your families. We had a student from one of the countries of the ex-Soviet Union, very close to Turkey. I will not say what country it was, very, very close to Turkey. And the family really wanted the daughter to become a pharmacist. They were obsessed with this, and it was their main idea. She was good at chemistry, and they were saying, the whole family, she must be a pharmacist. And then she studied at St. Francis. She went to a careers evening. She met people representing different professions, and she came back and she said that she wants to be working in the police. She wants to be a police woman. And obviously the family went in shock. They said, we don't want our daughter to be going along the streets and just patrolling the roads or something like this. This is not why we sent her to a school in England. What did you do? So so obviously, because Russian was the main language for the family, I was involved very deeply in the conversations. We had a meeting with the head and with all the teachers, with the representatives from the sixth form, and we sat around the table and we said, so let's see what is the ideal solution for this, how we can help the family and the child, because the child just wanted to be working in the police. And then we said, but why do you think that if somebody works in the police, it's just patrolling the roads or being in that police car responding to an emergency call? It's not that. There is a lot of scientists who work in the police. There are forensic experts who have to work at crime scenes, and they are very, very, very professional, highly educated people. And because she was so good at chemistry, we said she would probably should go and consider a career as a forensic science. And that's what she did. And this is such an easy solution to match the expectations of the family with the expectations of the child. And I think that's why an expert is always there to be to advise them. Otherwise, it would be a scandal. They would probably just go to, go back home and try to educate her in a more traditional system and just forcing her to forget about her dream. This is not right. I think we all have to make children dream and to help them fulfill all their dreams.
Yes.
It's just guiding them through the process, guiding the families
Absolutely.
and the children through this process is important.
Before we move on, Vlad, I want to mention the fact that I visited your school last week, or is it 10 days ago? Not long ago.
Yes, very recently.
And I've had the chance to interview 4 lovely young ladies from among your students, one of which was your head girl. And I want to show some of these videos to our viewers here, to our parents, if that's okay.
Yeah, of
Now,
course.
tell me if I'm sharing my screen. Can you see it?
I can see myself.
Okay, right. Let's see. Here are the videos. Let's just put that down. Oops. Now, I don't know how to get through this.
Oh, here is the video.
Right, here's the video, but this is the first one I want to play. Here, let's see. Can you see it?
I can see the video. I can't hear what you said. Oh.
So 10, 11 years old, I knew that I wanted to come to single-sex school. I didn't want to go to a co-ed school. So when I was applying for state schools, they were all girls' schools. And obviously it gave me a mixed school as my sort of allocation. So that's why I came here.
So I've been at a mixed school from reception through to year 8. So I think I just wanted to change, to be honest. It was just a lot of the same thing.
I was in a mixed school from reception to beginning of year 9, and between the 2 schools I had to choose. One was single sex and the other one was mixed school, and because the school looks better, I just tried.
I was in a mixed school from reception to year 4, and when I came to St. Francis, I could choose between like a mixed state school or this school, and I found that it was the people were like really nice because there were loads of girls and it was easy to fit in compared to like a co-ed school.
Okay, good. So, okay, I'm sorry, maybe the sound wasn't so clear there because we were in a big room and we were sitting a bit of a distance. But the main thing these students point to is that they all come from a co-ed school in their primary, and they all they had the choice between a co-ed and a single-sex school when they were transferring to prep school and high school. So in the end, they all chose to come to the single-sex school, to St. Francis College. 2 of them had said because it was better. One of them had said that in a co-ed education, everything's always the same. There's no difference day to day. And the other one said she always wanted to go to a single girls' school from the age of 10 or 11. But because she wasn't placed in the state system, she applied through her local council to the single-sex schools, and she wasn't placed. She had to go to the independent option. Lucky for her that her parents could do that for her. So these girls, I think, were quite the informed choice girls, really. They knew what they were doing, and they seemed quite happy to voice why they were there. So
I also wanted to mention that you had a mix of students. They were all of different backgrounds because in that little mix of 4, you had one student who came as a short placement student from France. So she started in St. Francis almost like on a trial period. She didn't know what to expect from a single-sex school because most of the schools in the French system are co-ed. And her family really wanted her to try, but she wasn't sure. So she came on a trial And then she extended and extended, and now she's staying through the system. So she stays in the school as a full student, but she came as a short-term placement.
So she was only going to spend 1 term, but she liked it so much she stayed the whole year.
Yes.
Good,
So she decided to stay, and she thought that she felt that this school is definitely correct for her. She thought that it is the right place for her to be. She made a lot of friends. She made a lot of friends from the local community and from international community, because we have a mix. And I think she felt quite nicely about it. And
go on. Sorry.
And the other 3 girls, they were local UK children from Britain. And again, as you said, they were all coming from mixed school environment before. And for different reasons, as I said, many families would be considering different options. And it's this informed choice that is the most important factor when you're deciding on a school.
Yeah. My main observation was that it seems that in all the single-sex schools that I know, a majority of the students are local students. The families all around Britain, they don't have to be local as in, down the road, but sort of, British nationals who value such schools more than the international cohort. Is that something that you face on a daily basis?
Yes, because obviously when you come from a country where single-sex education is not common, or where it was popular many years ago, but most of the younger generations of parents, they never faced it, and they don't know what to experience, what it's going to be. Some of them are frightened, some of them are afraid, because they feel that they don't understand why this change. But I think that's why the information that we give out to parents, conversations like this, different events that we organize when we can answer direct questions from the parents, and also trial sessions, because that convinces a lot of international parents. They can come for a short period, become boarders for a short period of time, and then take already a clever decision based on their own experience. Or if they're local and they're already in the UK, because some international families would have property in the UK, they would be living between the 2 countries, which is very, very common. Then they can come very easily on a taster day, let's say, or they can have a taster week. And again, that helps so much to understand
Can we
whether
do that? So if I have any parents that want to know how things work, how things are run in St. Francis College, can I arrange the parent to come and spend a day or a week or a few days with you?
Yes, of course, yes. And we are
and that
always,
would be free of charge, Vlad. I don't want you to say, oh, there'll be a bill.
if it's just a couple of days, yes. If it's a term, then of course, there will be a fee for this. But I think what is important is we are a very, very open community. We want everybody to come and visit us, and we give them hospitality. We make sure that, because it's not just about education. It's the overall experience of how you're welcomed at reception, how your luggage is taken to the boarding house, how you have a buddy from the school community who takes care of you, the food, extracurricular activities, excursions and trips, because school life in the UK, it's not just academics. It's actually probably, I think academics is probably just 1/3 or 1/4 of the overall experience. Everything else is as important as academics. And I think we have to make sure that, everybody understands this. Would you like me to mention?
Your third,
my third thing.
We want your third. I really want our viewers to come forward with their questions. I just want to remind them of that.
Yeah.
So please feel free to ask your questions before we run out of time. But can you talk about some statistics? Can you give us how successful single-sex schools are in the UK?
If we look at academic results, most of the girls-only schools, they will be in the top 100 for A-level and GCSE results. That's one of the measurements that can be taken into account when you decide on a school. Look at the results. But I think there are so many schools and there are so many successful schools in the UK that sometimes it's a very difficult choice. That's why it's coming, visiting, and feeling the experience is the most important thing. So I think normally, probably I would be right if I say that if you have a family you're working with, you would have suggestions for them, maybe several schools that they can visit and have a feel of, and then they will be taking the decision. So I think this is the best approach. Don't just look at league tables or celebrity parents or other Turkish people who went to a school, let's say, and say, if this, I don't know your celebrities, but I only remember Tarkan. And if somebody that's important went to this school, then all of us have to just follow them, and this is the best result. It never works like this. Every child is individual.
Yes,
and every family is different.
Yes, I always say, as an education consultant, there is a school for everybody, one that matches perfectly, but not every school is for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's very important to find the perfect match. Now we have a question. There was a hand up. 21D Smith is the username. The question was, that's in the chat box now. Can you please talk about the social sides of being at single-sex schools? So what do you do socially? What are the activities?
Okay, I will answer this question and I will transition into my third because it is related. So my third point, it's purely the answer to this question, actually. So the social life, it's not a convent. It's not a monastery that the girls are sitting and meeting and not seeing the lights from their rooms. There is obviously the full-on curriculum, and it's added to overall the experience that they have in the after-school clubs, opportunities with other schools. So, for example, in all the sports, they play with other schools that are co-eds or sometimes boys only. They do a lot of trips and excursions together with other schools as well. We have visitors and speakers and joint events in school. I think the biggest interesting thing about St. Francis is that we have a great classical theatre. So our theatre can sit up to 330 people, and it's a purpose-built, what we call in England, West End style theatre with professional equipment, staging equipment, and lights. And we have a lot of visiting schools who are coming to us to use the facilities, to do plays together with our students. In arts, we have a lot of projects when boys' schools are coming to do drawings with our students, and we do the same visits elsewhere. So I think socially, obviously, I'm coming to the third point. One of the other, the third main factor that is scientifically proven about girls feeling much better in a single-sex environment if they want to concentrate on education, is that all their emotional entanglements and romantic potential relationship, especially when they get older, coming to teenager age, they are kept outside of their friendship group within the school. You probably realize that in a co-ed environment, in a group of friends that is mixed, there may be a girl who may be more proactive in her desires to grow older quicker than others. And if her romantic relationships within this group are open to everyone and everybody knows about it, other girls feel under pressure that they want to do the same at the same pace. Otherwise, they may be considered something is wrong with them because they don't want any emotional relationship with other boys. And in a co-ed environment, that can be a struggle for some of the girls who really want to keep concentrating on friendships and on studies. In a single-sex environment, these relationships, they are kept outside of the school. And then the friendship groups are not broken because of this. And it is definitely proven that girls can be concentrating on studies, on their friendships and development until they are ready when they are ready.
When the right comes, time
And
comes.
they don't feel under this immense pressure from the modern world and the modern society, from their friendship groups within the educational institution.
So they're not really, so let's be a bit more open about this. Girls do not feel pressure into looking a certain way, dressing a certain way, talking a certain way, because they're not concerned with impressing the opposite sex.
Exactly.
Because that is not a priority.
Yes.
And they're not letting their hormones control their day-to-day activities, thus interfere with their academic studies.
Yes.
Can I put it this way? Would that be
exactly? It is the right way. And if we become even more direct, we can say that they're not over-sexualized at a younger age. They can be concentrating on their emotional life, on their lessons, on their studies, and on their personal development at the pace they choose. They're not under pressure from outside of
external
their
factors.
Groups. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And this is the third and quite important factor that is scientifically proven, as I said. So yes, I think I said everything I wanted to say about the three major factors. And we come to the point that probably we wanted to share some other videos. Am I right?
Yeah. But could you hear them? I was a bit concerned whether you
Yes.
could hear them.
Yes, we could. Yes, we
Okay,
could hear
all
them.
right. So let me just share the screen again. All right. Now, I was very happy that, I've done these videos because I think the girls were quite honest and direct. Now, the second question I asked the girls was, where would you have seen yourself? How would your academics been? How would your results be if you were in a co-ed school? And they were very honest.
Well, I think that if I had gone to a co-ed school, the school I'd been allocated, I think my academic results would be hindered slightly, because I think there would be those distractions of disrupted learning, possibly not as good teachers, and I think I'd still have that love for learning. I'd still want to go to university, but I would be looking at not less in terms of rank, if that makes sense, like less ranked universities, and possibly going in with grades that I wouldn't have been able to achieve. I don't know. Yeah.
So you found this environment to be more academically advantageous?
Yes. I felt that my potential has been able to be reached at the school, whereas it possibly wouldn't have been tapped into had I gone to a co-ed school.
So she openly and confidently says that if she was in a co-ed school, she couldn't have achieved this much. Her results wouldn't have been so high. So I think that's just an amazing self-confidence.
It really helps you find your potential and find a good career in your future. And if I was at a co-ed school, I think, yeah, definitely my grades would have been a bit lower because of all the distractions or just not attaining as good as I could, because this school gives you a good opportunity. But maybe I would have chosen something slightly different because I would have not been pressured to do the harder subjects like maths or physics, because at this school I think they really give you help for those subjects and make you learn to be good at them and have help in them and start to like them a lot.
So she is quite aware that if she was in a co-ed school, she wouldn't have really chosen some hard science subjects. But here she feels that she gets the right support and that it's only the right thing to do for her because it gives her a wider career choice. I think that's just an amazing, informed girl. Oops, some of these videos, I may have corrupted some of these videos moving from the phone to the laptop. Yeah, that just looks it. So yeah, I'm afraid. Let's see. Let's close these. Maybe it's not opening because I have too many open. Let's try again. Yeah.
Okay. Since I have come to a girls' school, my grades and sort of concentration and work ethic have massively improved, just because I haven't had those extra distractions and I have been able to focus on whatever I wanted to. whereas before, because I am quite quiet, I was overshadowed quite a lot, and I just found it harder in that environment.
So this young lady was a little bit shy in her previous school, which was a co-ed, and she felt really overshadowed, which was, I think, was a fantastic way to describe how she felt. And now in a single-sex girls' school, she feels that she could reach her potentials, and she feels that she can concentrate on what she wants to do, which I think is, again, a great big achievement for the girls, where they feel, you know, not every kid has the same level of self-confidence, not every kid has the same level of sort of informed brain. Again, as you said, not every kid grows up in the same pace. So single-sex schools, both for girls and boys, I can, as a teacher, say, provides the safe, unprejudiced, and unchallenged but competitive environment. So when we say challenging, a lot of parents feel that, oh, does that mean that they're so free, there's no academic competition, there's no goal, they'll just be whatever? No, the case is they don't feel prejudiced against because they're of a lesser quality or they're of a lesser ability. They don't feel that they have to prove themselves to the other sex. They don't feel that they have to compete with somebody physically, especially in sports. Now, I've seen in girls' schools that girls play football, hockey, rugby, all sorts of physical games, but again, at their own pace. There's no pressure. And they do well. There are in schools all around the UK teams made up of girls that play in divisions, that play among each other. And UK is one of the, I think, foremost countries that advocate female sports in every actual field. What do you think, Vlad?
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with this. And I think it is always important to remember that I think I said it many times during our interview today, but every case is an individual and every situation will be different. And we're talking about single-sex education, and obviously I'm from St. Francis College and I'm talking about St. Francis College as an example of schools. I don't want to say that this is the only place where you can get this kind of approach. I think many other schools would offer the same opportunity. And again, you will be able to find the right solution for your child only after visiting the place, talking to the teachers, talking to other parents, perhaps the headmaster or the headmistress of the school, and having this informed experience, informed decision. This is the key message that I want everybody to remember from this conversation.
But I also want to say they should come and try your food. I think the school lunch was amazing. I really enjoyed the school food. There was great choice and it was really nicely done. And I think the girls it was really impressive, the social areas, the common rooms, the living rooms, especially in the boarding quarters or in the school itself, the common rooms, the cafe that you have where they feel a little bit more independent. They go and buy their own coffee if they want. So I think the whole setup is quite literally sufficient for the girls to excel and do their best and reach their potentials.
That's definitely the case. It is the case. And I think our school is also quite special because our boarding house, the actual residence, is in the main school building.
Yes, and they don't go anywhere. They just come downstairs for the class.
Exactly. This is their home away from
home. They wake
home.
up and go to the classroom.
And when I have families who visit the school for the first time, and all these mums who are so worried about sending their child away from home, so far away for the very first time in their lives, and thinking, what is going to happen to her? Who's going to look after her? Where is she going to be? How do we get in touch? I said, look, this is the ideal location. You will always know where she is, and we will always know where she is, because you can't get confused with anything. And I think this is the environment that needs to be right for you. But as I say, every situation is different, and every family has different views on what they would like to get from a school. So that's why I'm just saying, don't just look at those artificial
websites.
brochures and artificial messages. Come and visit and then decide.
Yes, I would be happy to take any parent listening in today to your school.
And
because
we will be very happy to welcome them. If
Yes.
obviously if there is any questions, we're happy to answer them. But you know, as an official part of my speech, I think is coming to the end. I just wanted to say teşekkürler to everyone and thank you for listening. But
Thank you,
I
Vlad.
hope that we will be in touch.
Yes. Any questions before we say goodbyes from anyone? You can put your hand up and ask your question directly. You don't have to put it in a chat box. Any questions?
I think everybody is welcome to ask questions in Turkish if they prefer.
Yeah,
You will
yeah,
translate.
you can do that. Türkçe de sorabilirsiniz. Ben çeviririm eğer İngilizce sormak istemiyorsanız sorunuzu. Vaktiniz için çok teşekkür edip ayrılmadan önce. Okay. Thank you very much, Vladimir. This has been a very informative seminar, I think, and I will share the link with you for
Thank you.
once it's
I'm
loaded
sure.
in
I'm
the
sure.
system.
I'm sure that there will be questions afterwards.
Yes.
Normally, parents
Yeah.
become a bit shy at the time of presentation like this. You will get questions, but do send them to me, and I will be very, very happy to answer them.
Of course.
And
of
yeah,
course.
I hope to meet you again at
Sure.
St. Francis very soon.
Yes, thank you very much,
Okay.
Vladimir.
Have a nice
Good
evening.
night.
Bye bye. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Çok teşekkürler katıldığınız için. Kaydı sonlandırıyorum. Kaydın bir kopyasını toplantıdan sonra sizlere ileteceğiz. İyi akşamlar diliyorum.